closed doors. You know, abusers tend to showcase their women. Most of them do not attack the women in their face because they don't want the face to mess up. So they do the arms or the backs or stuff like that. My husband, well, my ex-husband, when he beat me, it was always in my face. My face was always messed up. And to the degree of, you know, I couldn't go anywhere because the face was so deformed. But I say this to say, women out there, and we're not alienating the men. In June, we're going to have a discussion about men who are being abused. Our Father's Day shows are going to be about men. But
coming to you in 2021 with the hour of our time. You made the 1 hour show so nice that now we're going to do it twice. Look for us every Sunday from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. here on Power 4.4 Internet Radio. What's going on? It's your boy, Reverend B. Live on Power 4.4 Radio. Listen, y'all, this is my personal our show is connected with Reverend B. Reverend B. Listen, y'all can go please download the live app, go to football, Power 4.4 Radio, and join us every Sunday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Live on Power 4.4 Radio. Today's says who, what, when, where, and why. Second and fourth Sunday, where our topics will empower you, enlighten you, and educate you. Hey, baby girl, on Power 4.2. Well, welcome back to our second show of 2021. We are so excited. It's the new year. It's the new day. You know, we are sporting our pearls. I'd like to thank AJ Bang for this outfit that I have on today. Already, we'll take pictures later on for everybody. I'd like to also give a shout out to my hairstylist. It's Maisha Stratton of Edie Daughter's Hair and Wig. I hope you guys like it. And my lipstick comes from Mary Kay from Gina Dixon. So I'm hoping everybody's doing well. I'm thinking that we're all exhaling a little bit after the inauguration, which was beautiful. Amanda tore it up with her poem. I really thought I was seeing Maya Angelou up there giving that speech. He tore it up. I'd like to thank all of our constituents, everybody who came out and voted for voters registration for Baltimore, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. You guys followed the queen. I went all out 2-3 events a day. And you came out and you voted. I don't care who you voted for, you came out and voted. So Ms. Tony Perry, thank you for the My Vote Matters campaign. It was an honor to be a participant in that and to help bring awareness to our young people that voting is very important. It is a responsibility for each and every one of us, and it is an honor and privilege to be able to get out and vote. We want to talk more about that in February when I do our Black History Month segment. We hope that you tune in. Hi, Miss California. I see you. Hi, Miss Queen Tiffany. I see you. Hi, thank you for all you're doing to get that new project up and running. So we have a special guest today. She is not in the studio because her church
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Pastor Watson. We're going to give a little bio on Pastor. She is a wife, a mother, and a grandmom. You know, she fits right into my category, right, y'all? I can't talk no way but the right way. And she is a survivor of abuse and is an international purpose pusher. He is on a mission to equip women to live out their God-given purpose. He's an entrepreneur, a speaker, a published author, and mentor, and a pastor. Carolyn is also a woman's advocate and philanthropist. She has dedicated her life to helping others keep the past and embrace the future. Carolyn is the founder and pastor of Tears to Breakthrough Ministry, which transforms victims into victors, equipping them with the tools to execute their God-given purpose. Carolyn's motivational and faith-building one-on-one and group mentoring sessions is increased confidence, joy, peace, and a sense of purpose. Carolyn, welcome to Baby Know That Who, What, When, Where, and Why.
And thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so your devil is really big right now. And I thank you so much for taking this opportunity to join us and have a discussion. And everyone knows my platform is domestic violence and cancer awareness. And I try to bring everyone to the show that will enlighten, empower, and enhance you as women, build you up, and give you whatever is necessary for you to in this life that God has given. Carolyn, tell us a little bit about Tears to Breakthrough.
Absolutely. So Tears to Breakthrough came about, well, I guess in 2011, when I wrote my first book, Tears in a Bottle. And that book tells my story of domestic violence and different levels of abuse. And so out of that, well, one thing God said to me, when you write your book, when you tell your story, you know, it's going to send you into the nations. It's going to open you up to so many women, to help so many women break through. And so that's exactly what it did. So I wrote my book, and so Tears to Breakthrough Ministries is a spinoff of my book, Tears in a Bottle.
Okay. Where is your book available for our audience to pick up a copy of it?
Sure, you can purchase a copy of Tears in a Bottle on Amazon or BarnesandNobles.com.
Okay. Well, people hear me tell my story all the time about my ex-husband and domestic violence behavior, and how the Lord came and spoke to me one day in the mirror and asked me why I was allowing this to continue. Come on, audience. What was your breakthrough in getting out of the relationship that you were in? And we all know that these are not sometimes easy for us to, right?
Right.
What motivated you to decide that enough was enough and it was time to not to decide anymore?
Well, it's funny that you asked that question, because from the very first time he hit me, I knew I would leave him. But it's like you said, it's not easy, because you know you go through different stages. And then my biggest thing back then was I didn't want to separate my son from, you know, his dad. And so I went through all of that. But my breaking point was when we got into one of the biggest fights that we ever had. And he put his hands around my neck and strangled me and choked me out. And the fight actually started downstairs, but hours later I came to upstairs in our master bedroom, just laying there in dazed. And I looked over to the other side of the room, one side of the room, my son was playing with his toys. He was about 4 years old at the time. And the other side of the room, my abuser was in the corner crying because he thought he killed me. And so he said to his dad, he says, I think I killed Carol. You need to come here because I think I killed her. So at that moment, I knew that I had to find a safe escape plan. And that's what I always tell women, you need to find a safe escape plan. And so that's what I did. You know, I got some people involved, including my father-in-law at the time, who he was on the phone with, telling him that he thought he killed me.
Right.
And they helped me move. They helped me get out of there.
Right. So that's another point that we have to see. Sometimes our family members suspect that something is going on, but they don't want to come through it. How do you think that your in-laws, your father-in-law per se, knew that something was going on, and just was waiting for you, or it was time for you out?
I think he knew something was going on, but he didn't know the depths of it. I don't think he knew that, well, I know he didn't know that I was going through what I was going through. I think he probably thought, okay, he hit me one time, because I think I did admit to that once, you know, but I never admitted to it again. So I don't think he thought it was as bad as it was.
Right, right. And sometimes as the victim, we tend to carry on this facade that everything is okay, that maybe we said or did something that caused this to happen. And we are here to tell you that domestic violence is not normal. The actions of the person is not normal. It's not love. It's a tendency of abuse as being a way of showing us that they love us, correct? So we tend not to want to admit that we're in a place that is not good. So what is your advice to anyone, whether they are female or male right now, going through a domestic violence situation? Because we know that through COVID, domestic violence has been increased 400% that we know of. That's not talking about the calls that are not coming in.
Right, right.
Tell someone right now about how to release themselves and get to a safe.
Yeah, well, I always tell people to have a plan. Like, you have to have a safe plan, because it's not that easy to leave. You know, I knew that one of the things he used to threaten me with was, he used to tell me I could leave, but I had to leave my son, and I wasn't willing to do that. But I think that was just something that he would just say just to keep me there, really. But I always tell people to have a safe escape plan. And that's, so once I got to that point where I knew I had enough and I couldn't continue, you have to get somebody involved, you know, find somebody that you trust, that you can really be honest with and say, listen, this is what's happening, and I need to get out. And so come up with a safe plan where, you know, when he's not home, you know, he's at work or wherever. If he went to the store, like, pack a bag and hide it, you know, figure out what you can do so that you can get out of there safely. But then try to have a backup and try to have somebody there with you, because that was what I did. I had my father-in-law and 2 friends of mine that were there on moving day. So he didn't dare try anything. But yeah, but definitely come up with a plan. And the other thing is, I also, once he choked me out and I came to, part of my plan was to save money. So I didn't leave immediately. I started saving money because I knew that I would need a place to live. So I started saving money, secretly saving money, and I gave them a date, and they said, all right, then we'll be there. And that's how I was able to flee.
And as we know, these are the things that work for us. This is what works for Pastor Carol. It may not work for you.
Right.
And you guys know that I talk about my video entitled "What Pizza Against Domestic Violence." How you're called pizza at 911 and order a pizza and having a conversation May Reynolds. And we have some new videos in the work, and I'm sure everybody's going to be excited about. But Pastor Watson, how did you come up with what did you did God say when you start to get into ministry? What led you into ministry?
Will that be into ministry?
Yeah.
Well, I've always been involved in ministry at some level, but once I, got out of the abusive situation with my son's dad, then my vision for my ministry changed, because now I wanted to pour into women more. As young women, it started out with young women, and then gradually grew to women of any age. But I just always wanted to create an atmosphere for women to just be real and share their stories, So that just grew into ministry, because I was like, wow, this is a real thing. Because for a long time, my family, my friends, they did not know my story. As a matter of fact, a lot of my family and friends didn't even know what I was really going through until after I wrote the book.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, how did they react when you released, and what discussions did you guys have as family, and what things came out of them that possibly your book brought out?
Well, a lot of people didn't believe me, really, because they couldn't, just knowing my personality. A lot of times people look at me as being so strong, and I'm always that person that's there for everybody else. So they kind of couldn't believe that I would allow someone to beat on me or hit me or strangle me or do any of those things. So I had to make them understand that it's not that simple. It's not that cut and dry, because obviously if it was, who would be going through it? So I had to have a very real conversation, and there's some people that still can't believe it. But that's on them. I always tell women, your story is your story. Tell your truth.
Yes, and that's why we have these talks here at Baby Girl Says, because the only way to bring awareness to a situation is to talk about it. And it's very important for us to talk about situations, because the abuser tends to knock down our self-esteem, tends to make us feel ugly about ourselves. And we have to start trying to build each other up in positive ways, and not all this negative stuff. So, Pastor Carol, please tell us about some of the events that you have, that you were having before COVID hit, and tell us about what you're doing now to keep this awareness going on.
Okay, sure. So one of the things that I do in my ministry, I don't really have a traditional ministry with a brick and mortar building, because God told me, listen, I need for you to go out into the nations. I need you to go into all the world, share your story, and help other women do the same. And so one of the things I do is I travel. I get women together. We do conferences all over. We show up from city to city, different countries. We were going on cruises, traveling and just pouring into each other, sharing our stories. And I was sharing with you earlier, the last one we went on that was canceled. Last year I had to cancel everything. We'll see what happens this year. But we were on a private island, and after we shared our stories and just poured into each other and just, opened up that, because some women had never shared their story with anybody. So all types of abuse. And so after we did that, we ended up spending a day on a private island in Cozumel, Mexico, where we crowned each other queen. And we built that, because it's all about building your self-esteem back up. Because like you said, when you're in that abusive situation, your self-esteem is so low, you lose your identity. And so it's all about building women back up. and empowering them to know that they do have a purpose. God still has a plan and a purpose for your life. Yes, you went through that, but you know, you can do it. You can start over again. You can build your life over again, because a lot of times women feel like they can't.
Yeah, that is so true. It's difficult. We can knock each other down, negative about each other, but when it's something that is needed to empower someone and build them up, we just need teams to get it together and say, are you in trouble? Do you need help? And we have to stop being selfish and self-centered and think everything me, because it's not. Your sister could be going through an abusive situation, and because she's walking around looking glamorous and pretty,
That's right.
as well, you may think she's okay, and then you get a little hint of jealousy about, oh, she's better than somebody. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors. You know, abusers tend to showcase their women. Most of them do not attack the women in their face because they don't want the face to mess up. So they do the arms or the back and stuff like that. My husband, well, my ex-husband, when he beat me, it was always in my face.
Wow.
Always messed up.
Wow.
And to the degree of, you know, I couldn't go anywhere because the face was so deformed. But I say this to say women out there, and we're not alienating the men. In June, we're going to have a discussion about men who are being abused. Our Father's Day shows are going to be about men. So women, you have to know your values. You have to know who you are in God's eyes. As I told you a couple of weeks ago, we are made in His image. So when you see me, and I look in the mirror, I see God. When you see Pastor Carolyn, you see God. When I see you, I see God, because God made you. He made you who you are. No one has the right to take any of that away from you. If you are in a domestic violence situation and you need help, we're going to give you numbers, we're going to give you resources, we're going to give you counselors with you to get the help you need. But first and foremost, if your life is in danger, you need to call 911 and order a pizza. And explain what you want on your pizza. The police officer will say to you, ma'am, did you know that this is not the pizza shop? And you want to say, yes, I would love to order a pepperoni pizza. So, ma'am, are you in danger? Yes, I would like a pepperoni pizza. Extra large. Talk to them as if you were ordering a pizza. They'll ask you, are you in danger? Are you in trouble? Yes. Oh, my address is such and such and such and such and such. Give them the information they need so they can come and tell you and get out. And my biggest thing to you is, I know our hearts, we are women. We love, give our whole heart and soul because we love. Okay. Let that love go and love yourself too.
Yes.
Love your children more if you have children. But if it's just you, I tell y'all this story all the time. Whitney Houston, everybody knows Whitney Houston. When she got tired and got sick and tired of being tired, she said, oh, me and Bobby will walk to the corner and go to the store. She took her daughter and she walked to the store and never came back. It's God's responsibility. So if you're in danger, please, we also know that there are some little things where some women, not saying it's any of you, but some women bring domestic violence and it's not. And that's what the stigmatism on the women who really are in trouble and need help. Please, remember, if you're not in a domestic violence and your boyfriend decides to leave you, go with another woman or whatever he decides to, don't call 911 and say domestic violence. Because you're destroying that man's guarantee you, they will find out whether it was or not. And then you will be prosecuted for false arrest. So I'm saying, if you are seriously in a domestic violence relationship and you are threatened to your life is in danger, your children's lives are in danger, call 911 and do it. Pastor Watson, in your travels, how many people do you deal with the series that you have talked with all the counseling services that you do, the things that you do, and ever hear from any of them and they ever reach back out to you?
Well, it's funny because since I've been traveling, I've had an opportunity to meet so many women all over, and a lot of times I do talk to them over the phone or email or, well, now Zoom. So yeah, and sometimes, you know, they'll come back out again on a trip, you know, and help to tell their story. You know, they might not have wanted to tell their story before. Well, now they want to tell their story, because that's what happens once we share our stories. It's almost like opening up Pandora's box. You just never stop talking about it. So yeah, so they do reach back. They reach out to me and they kind of tell me what they're doing, and you know, and then one of the big things is, another piece that God laid on my heart was some of these women that you know, I kind of helped out, and they did leave their abuser. And some of these women had never worked before. So I had to also teach them. I have something called a wealth builder. I have these wealth builder sessions where I teach them how to, because something else God laid on my heart is what we are anointed to do, we can get paid to do. So I teach them entrepreneurship. You know, you can, God gave you some gifts and talents that you can use to make some money. Okay. Yes. And
You know, Pastor, most times we'll hear them say, well, we provide all my bills, money for this, money for that. I don't know how to do something that's good at home.
right.
Like you say, you can be sitting at home for paying the credit.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Income. You could be sitting at home writing letters or notes or cards. You can turn that into a business.
That's right.
There's so many things that even with COVID, that COVID has done, that has allowed us to open up different avenues, different forms of revenue for ourselves. You know, some people are making soaps, candles, flowers. There is so much out there that we can support ourselves. You know, it's good that you have a good name. You have a good name. Who's going to allow you to be a person that God has called you to be.
Yes.
So, Pastor Watson, when we deal with young women, how many do you think have come in your direction that have been in a situation by family members or boyfriends or
Well, hundreds of young women who they're just young and they just want to be in love. And so sometimes they just think that's love. They consider that love. And I have to tell them that's not love. That's abuse.
And abuse is not just a physical thing.
No.
So, and this is what we have to stress with you out there in radio land and Facebook and abuse comes in many forms. Abuse can be bullying. Abuse can be, I don't like that and so Kim said, well, I don't like the way your hair looks. And if this is something that says consistently every day, that's a form of abuse. Now, abuse, when we have our young people, it can turn to some really, really devastating situations where children not knowing how to deal with abusive behavior tend to commit suicide. Through COVID, suicide in the age bracket between 15 and 25 has risen tremendously.
Wow.
But they are not able to deal with isolation like me, I love interaction with people. I need to be around people.
Mm.
Our children are used to that social behavior. Oh, I'm going to school, I'm friends, I can bring out this thing, that. So we have to be very mindful and open and listen and watch what our children are doing and what they're saying. Because sometimes underneath of what they're saying is a call for help. Would you agree about that, Pastor Watson?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We have to watch our children and their actions and reactions, and if there's a change in their personality, there's a reason there's a change in their personality. If they start acting out, there's a reason for that.
And we, as parents, it is our obligation and responsibility to look. We may not believe some of the things that our children say and do, but if you are a parent and you love your children, you need to be aware of the behavior changes, because it could be anything from bullying to incest to rape, anything.
Yes.
And children do not feel comfortable coming to you to discuss these things with you, then there's something wrong in your communication with your children, or your sisters, or your brothers, because they can be being abused and we not even know it. But we have to be open to look and see and hear and listen, because they will eventually show us and tell us. And even if you have a child that you will call, oh, they always telling me stories, I don't ever know what I can read from them. Please look, listen. Don't be the monkey that says, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. Children do not ask to come here. We bring them in. And as a result, it is our responsibility to make sure they get a safe, happy environment. And it's our responsibility to make sure that these things happen.
That's so true.
And so when you meet with the youth, is it easy talking to them, or are it a little difficult? What do you have to do to bring out the inner capable things that are inside of them?
Well, it really starts with having a relationship with them, and because you have to build up trust. They have to be able to trust you. They have to know that what they say to you, they can trust you with information. So, you know, if you come at them with judgment or finger pointing, they're not going to open up. So, you know, you just have to love on them. They, you know, I was having this conversation earlier. Children are people too. They need validation. They need to know that they're loved and cared for. They need to know that they're safe. And when they feel that, they'll open up.
Yeah, and it's all that, because if they've been abused, they have no trust for anybody.
Right.
Because they feel as though everybody supports the same thing to them that the abuser did, whether it was verbal or physical. Their trust level is gone. So I thank God most of the time when I look at myself and I see how kids are drawn to me, I thank God, number one, for giving me that beautiful look.
Yes.
And you too, Pastor Watson. Even one of us of our age, you guys know I always tell y'all that all the time. The Lord has preserved me.
Yes, absolutely.
About that. But we have to, I believe that the youthfulness allows the children to feel more comfortable coming to us to voice an opinion or let us know something. And it just has to do with us, once again, being able to be open to hear what they have to say.
Yes.
So we are going to open up the phone line. If anyone has any questions that they want to ask Pastor Watson or myself, Jay, what line do we have open for calls? So you can reach us at 443-835-3839. That's 443-835-3839. If you have questions for myself or you have questions for I call her Dr. Green, going for her doctorate. And she has a foundation now that tailor made behavioral solutions. And call her on the phone and see that it's shop a lot. Pastor Watson, did you hear the question?
No, everything went blank. I didn't hear the question.
So the question is from Ms. Tony Carey is, what can you do when you suspect a family member or a friend is going through a domestic violence situation? How do you approach them to discuss it with them and possibly give them help? Because she has had a family member or friend that has gone through it, but she didn't know what to do. She just thought she could have done more to help them.
Wow, that's a good question. Well, I always recommend that if you suspect something, then, you know, ask them point blank, you know, this is what I suspect that there's something going on here, you know, and just let them know that you love them and that you're there for them, because they might be in denial. I mean, they might not want to open up to you. So I always say, don't give up. So if you say, if you went to her once and she just said, well, no, that's not what happened, I fell, you know, or something like that. Well, don't give up on her. You know, still check in and say, well, listen, I'm here for you. I love you. I'm here for you. And when you're ready, to be honest, I'm here for you, you know, and just kind of address it that way, because that way they feel safe. Because a lot of times, you know, as women, sometimes we're afraid that people are going to gossip or, you know, it's going to turn into something else. So just let her know you love her and that you are there for her. So when she's ready to open up, definitely when she's ready to leave, you know, you're there for her.
And that's good advice, because I say that sometimes too, when callers call in to us, I say, be truthful, ask a question. Look, something not feeling right. Are you okay? Is there something going on? Is there something I can help you with? Because sometimes a victim wants someone to ask that.
Yes.
Final point where they don't know what to do. And want somebody to say, look, I'm seeing something here. I'm not liking what I'm seeing. It's a little bit of pain or this. Sometimes we have to stop being silent. And this I got this from behind that. It's time to stop being silent and start speaking about the things that are wrong with us.
That's so true.
So, Pastor Watson, you, and we're going to post all this after we go offline because while we're online, through the social media platform, we cannot, state information that we put in there. But we're going to recite some information very slowly for you so that you can take it down. And if you want to reach out to Pastor Watson, can you tell people how they can reach out to you and find out about the Tears to a Breakthrough?
Tears to Breakthrough. Okay, sure. Well, I am on, well, I actually have a private Facebook group. I always say we're private, but we're not exclusive. So definitely, if you're on Facebook, join my group. It's Tears to Breakthrough, private Facebook group. You know, just I'll definitely accept your request. And also, if you want, you can email me at tearsinabottle, the number 8@gmail.com. If you want to email me, tearsinabottle, the number 8@gmail.com, or you can call me at 215-848-1624. I'm actually still working. I had to do make some changes. So the website, I have to get that. I'm still working on that.
And I look forward to having more conversations with you and joining you on some of those projects that
Absolutely. It was my pleasure.
thank you so much. And we look forward to hearing more great things from you. And we will be talking to you soon. Thank you for doing it.
Thank you. Have a great day.